What's good, people? We back with another video today, and in this wait, before I get into anything, I know it's been a while. I've been gone, been on hiatus, MIA. Nobody else's fault but mine. I understand that, but with the NFL season less than a week away, Cowboys at Bucks, Thursday Night Football, season opener, I figured, why not make videos right now? This is the perfect time to do it. Less than a week away, so let's get right into it. I'm going to be doing a little thing here where I break down each division and the storylines from each team in each division, the biggest storylines for each team. So let's get right into it. I want to start with the AFC East because I think this is the division, the most interesting division, I think, going into week 1 of the 2021 NFL season. So I'm going to start talking about the New York Jets, who, I don't think it's controversial at all to say that they're probably the 4th place team this year. I think position for position that the Dolphins, Patriots, the Bills, all better than the Jets. That being said, the Jets have a lot of interesting pieces going into this season. Now, of course, they were a dumpster fire last year. They were picking 2nd overall for a reason. They were bad, flat out bad. But this year, I actually have some hope for the Jets. And it could be misplaced considering, Jets haven't had much to be hopeful about the last couple seasons. But it all starts with Zach Wilson. They drafted Zach Wilson 2nd overall, quarterback from BYU, who is my pick to be Rookie of the Year this year. I absolutely love this kid. I love everything I see out of him. His arm talent is insane. I think day one, he could have a top 10 arm in the NFL. The way he throws the ball, certain angles he can hit on the run, out of structure. The kid's a beast. I think he's going to be really good for the Jets. And like I said, he's my pick for Rookie of the Year. But maybe more important than Zach Wilson is this coaching staff, which is why I have so much confidence in Zach Wilson to succeed looking at this coaching staff. Starting with head coach Robert Saleh, of course, the former defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, led that ferocious defense all the way to the Super Bowl when they were healthy and came a couple plays away from actually winning that Super Bowl. I really like Robert Saleh. I think he was a good hire. And I also think he's going to get the most out of this defense that was actually kind of underrated last year under Greg Williams. Now, I know the secondary wasn't great, but I think they were a top 5 run defense. So Robert Saleh is definitely going to increase that. He's going to help out the secondary. Adding in guys like LaMarcus Joyner, who's going to play safety. He was in Vegas last year. For some reason, they played him at slot corner, and he was bad because he's a safety. He's not a slot corner. So I don't know what they were thinking with that, but bringing him in to play safety, that's going to help. Of course, they bring back Marcus May. I really like this defense, man. The defensive line is probably their strongest unit. Like I said, they were a top 5 run defense last year. Now they do lose Carl Lawson for the season to a torn Achilles, which is just brutal. He was going to be their biggest pass rusher, their most effective pass rusher this year. So that is obviously a massive blow to that defense. But they just traded for Shaq Lawson. They still have a couple names on here that I like. Quinnen Williams, of course, the former number 3 overall pick. Lorenzo Fatukasi, an interior defender. Sheldon Rankins, they brought in from New Orleans, who I like a lot. So, they're getting CJ Mosley back from the opt-out last year. So they still have some names on this defense that I think could be better than a lot of people think. But we all want to see what this offense is about. And Robert Saleh, coming in from San Francisco, also brought in Mike LaFleur to be his offensive coordinator from San Francisco. And LaFleur runs, the scheme that's really taking over the NFL, that Shanahan wide zone type of system, which I think is perfect for Zach Wilson. that mobility, those boots, those I think Wilson is going to be good out of structure for sure, but this structure is going to be so good for him as well. So it's like double trouble for opposing defenses having to deal with Zach Wilson. Now, they brought in Corey Davis as their big-time free agent on the offensive side of the ball, and it feels like a perfect scheme fit. Corey Davis was in Tennessee last year with Arthur Smith running a similar Kyle Shanahan type system over there, and he broke out last year. So I expect him to have a pretty good season this year, and he's looked good in preseason as well. Really has looked like Zach Wilson's go-to target. They drafted Elijah Moore, who's gotten rave reviews in training camp. AJ Brown has said that he's better than he was at that time, when AJ Brown was a rookie, which is crazy to think about. They still have steady Jamison Crowder, who was Sam Darnold's favorite target last year. Really felt like the only target they had last year, so they still have him. They bring in Keelan Cole, who had some splash plays with the Jaguars when their quarterbacks weren't sucking. So he could be a deep field threat. Do still have Denzel Mims too. I haven't really heard too much about him during camp, so we'll see if he gets any playing time. We'll see if he gets on the field. That's 5 deep at the receiver position to help out Zach Wilson. I'm not really concerned with the receiving talent. I actually really like this receiving talent. The offensive line is where you could get some pushback. They have Mekhi Becton there, who was up and down as a rookie. He was dealing with a lot of injuries as a rookie. Hopefully he can stay healthy this year. I actually think this is a really good scheme for him, even though he's 6'5" or 6'8" and 370 or whatever he is. He's a massive dude. But I think this wide zone offense is actually good for him because even though he's massive, he's agile. He's quick for a guy his size. He's kind of like a dancing bear, and he can get out in space and just toss guys out of the way and help that running game. Now, they drafted Elijah Vera Tucker with their second first-round pick, and I really do like Elijah Vera Tucker, but he's been hurt. I think he's missed like about 3 weeks or so of training camp. I also think he's a good scheme fit, but he hasn't gotten a ton of reps. So my thing is, I think this offensive line is going to take time to gel, and that could hamper Zach Wilson at the beginning. They also signed Morgan Moses from the Washington football team. I expect him to play right tackle. I haven't heard anything in camp as to if he's going to start or not. Our lads has George Fant slotted in as the starting right tackle. I don't know if that's true or not, but I do expect Morgan Moses to start at right tackle. So the offensive line has some pieces, but it's definitely going to take time to gel. Morgan Moses, kind of just brought in. It's been 3 weeks, maybe a month. He's been with the Jets. Elijah Vera Tucker has been in and out of the lineup. He's healthy now, which is good to see. He will be starting week 1, which is, obviously great to see, but he hasn't gotten a ton of reps. Mekhi Becton has been in and out of the lineup last year. Hopefully he can stay healthy this year. So, I think the Jets could win more games than people think. Now, again, I do think they'll be last in the division, but I'm cautiously optimistic with Zach Wilson, with Michael Ford, with this offense being implemented, these passing weapons, the defensive line that the Jets, are implementing. I like what they're building. I'll say that. They're not going to be, they're not going to beat the Bills for the division or anything like that, but I do like where they're going. I like where they're headed. Now, next is the team I think will be third place in this division, and it might come as a shock given how good they were last year. The Miami Dolphins. I don't have them making the playoffs. They were 10-6, I believe, last year. I don't see them winning double-digit games this year. Let's get right into it, man. The biggest storyline with the Dolphins is how is Tua Tagovailoa going to perform? Now, they're implementing a dual offensive coordinator system, which is, I think that's the first time I've ever heard a team implementing something like that, with George Godsey and Eric Stewsville. Not familiar with either guy, I'll be honest, I'm not. So I can't really say whether they're going to be good or bad. We just have to see. Same thing with Tua. He wasn't great his rookie year. He was not, and he took a lot of blame, and he took a lot of responsibility, saying he wasn't prepared, he didn't know the playbook, and that's why he kind of got pulled out for Fitzpatrick on a multitude of occasions. But now they don't have a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick backing him up. Jacoby Brissett is there, but he's a low floor starter. If Jacoby Brissett is playing games for you, the season might be lost. They need Tua to take that next step, and I'm not so sure it's going to happen with this offensive line. Now, they drafted Austin Jackson last year, a lot higher than most people expected, and he slotted to play left tackle this year. He did not have a good rookie year. It was expected that he was coming in raw. I think he was 20 years old coming into the league, which is insane to think about. So there's a lot of room for development for Austin Jackson. We'll see if he can get there. They drafted Liam Eichenberg in the second round, and I was a fan of Liam Eichenberg. I had him going in the first round to Baltimore with one of their first round picks. So he slotted to play left guard. I do like that. But they lost Eric Flowers, who was their best lineman last year. Some of these names, Michael Dieter, Robert Hunt, Jesse Davis, Robert Jones, Solomon Kinley. I'm not a fan of these names. I'm really not. And I don't think this is going to be a good offensive line. And Tua, for a guy who's not an explosive athlete, for a guy who is not the best maneuvering inside the pocket, if your offensive line can't hold for Tua, I don't think he's going to be able to take advantage of these weapons. And it's a shame because, my goodness, did Miami stock up on the offensive weapons. Bringing in Will Fuller, drafting Jalen Waddle in the top 10. Two burners, speedy individuals who are going to help so much if Tua can get them the ball. I'm expecting a quick passing attack, getting the ball into Jalen Waddle's hands, getting the ball into Will Fuller's hands, let them create yards on their own. They still have Devontae Parker, that sort of jump ball, contested catch receiver. Mike Gesicki at tight end, who's a budding superstar in my eyes. We'll see if Tua can unlock that superstardom from Gesicki. Hard name to pronounce. Gesicki. Is it Gesicki? Gesicki? I think it's Gesicki. Either way. I think he's a budding superstar, but with the quarterback play that is there in Miami, will he be fully unlocked? I don't know. We'll see. This offense has a lot of firepower, but I think it's going to be hindered by this offensive line. I'm not a fan of it. I think this is perhaps a bottom 10 unit, maybe bottom 5, but it's not a good one. It's not a good unit, and I see Tua struggling because the offensive line is poor. Now, of course, we know Brian Flores is the head coach. I love Brian Flores. He's quickly becoming a top coach in this league, with the discipline that he's implementing in this team. Very Belichickian, and of course, he comes from that Belichick system. He's learned from Belichick, and he's really implemented a lot of what New England does into this defense, and that's why it was so damn good last year. That's why it led the league in turnovers, which is kind of a fluky stat, but they were the team that led the NFL in turnovers. And this secondary, just like New England most of the years, is really good. They have Xavier Howard paired with Byron Jones, a top 5 corner duo in the league. Jason McCourty, they brought in from New England to play safety. They drafted Javon Holland, who a lot of people think is the most pro-ready safety So he fits like a glove in that defense. Eric Rowe is actually a kind of slumped it with the Eagles, but went to New England, now with Miami, and has really found a home in that Belichickian style defense. So the secondary is really damn good. And a thing that Brian Flores is doing, something that Bill Belichick doesn't really do, is he drafted Jalen Phillips in the first round to be their alpha pass rusher. Now, we know New England, they like to deploy a multitude of fronts. They like to send a lot of exotic blitzes from everywhere. They don't really have that signature number one pass rusher most years. Last time they did, I think it was Chandler Jones back in 2012 or whatever it was. They usually don't have that top guy. But Brian Flores is implementing it a little bit differently with Jalen Phillips. Hopefully, can stay healthy. He's had some injury concerns coming out. Hopefully he can stay healthy and be that alpha pass rusher. And if he can be, the defense is just that much better. And, the defense, I think, is going to keep this offense in a lot of games. But it's going to rely on the offense to win those games, be able to make plays in crunch time, make plays when it matters most to, get that win under their belt. So, biggest storylines for Miami, Tua, of course, this offensive coordinator duo. We'll see, man. The offense is very interesting. And, I do want to put this out into the air for a quick second. Deshaun Watson has been talked about going to Miami. Now, obviously, we don't know anything about Deshaun. I don't want to speculate too much. We'll see if he gets cleared, if he gets indicted, whatever the case. We don't know. But if he does get cleared, man, it would be insane to see Deshaun Watson on this team. We know Watson's used to playing with poor offensive lines. They got Will Fuller there. That was his go-to guy, for a long time. Man, Deshaun in Miami would be scary. That's all I'll say. Moving on to the second place team in this division, in my eyes, the New England Patriots. Now, I made a video about them a couple months back when they went on a free agency spree. I said the New England Patriots were back. The Empire strikes back. I still believe the New England Patriots are playoff bound. I think, back then when I made that video, I was talking about Cam Newton. Of course, recently they cut Cam. They are all in on Mac Jones, their rookie quarterback that they selected 15th overall. And I'll be honest, I liked Mike Jones as a prospect. I didn't like that he was talked up as a top 3, pick. I thought that never made sense, but I always liked Mac Jones as a prospect. And now he's in the perfect situation for a rookie quarterback. They have a top 3, top 5 offensive line in my eyes. Isaiah Wynn at tackle, Michael Onwenu slided to play guard, slided to play left guard where they lost Joe Thuney. Onwenu was a steal of a 6th round pick last year and played phenomenally. They brought back David Andrews on a cheap contract, like 4 years, $16 million or something. Unbelievable how they pulled that off. Shaq Mason, maybe their weakest link at guard, but he's still a very, very good run defender. And then they're bringing Trent Brown back, who they traded for like a 5th or a 6th round pick from the Raiders because he didn't want to play for Oakland or Vegas, excuse me. He didn't want to play for Vegas. When he was on New England, he was a mauler of a tackle. He stands at like 6'7", he's like 350. He's huge. He's going to help out this run game for sure. He's slotted to play right tackle. And there's no reason to believe that he won't be a beast for New England because he wants to play for New England. He wants to play for Bill Belichick. He wants to play for this team. So, that's a phenomenal offensive line group. And that's what you need to help a young quarterback. A great offensive line, give them protection, give them time to throw, give them time to read the field. I think this offensive line is definitely going to do that for Mac Jones. I also think they're going to have a top run game. Now, they do lose Cam, which greatly helped their run game last year, but, with the improvements on the offensive line, I think Damian Harris is going to eat. They have Ramondre Stevenson, who had a phenomenal preseason. We'll see how many snaps he gets. You know, Bill doesn't really like to use rookie running backs all that much, but they still have James White, JJ Taylor, kind of that scat back, that speedy guy. I think Damian Harris is going to eat in this offense. They're going to definitely lean on the running game, take some of the pressure off of Mac Jones, and not ask him to do too much, which is exactly what you need to do for a rookie quarterback. Don't put the whole plate on them. You know, let them, you know, you need a supporting cast around a rookie quarterback. Now, while I do think the Patriots are a better team than Miami and the Jets, their skill position players definitely are lacking compared to those other two teams. Now, they brought in Nelson Aguilar. They have Jacoby Myers still. Maybe their best, intermediate short threat. Nelson Aguilar, kind of that deep field stretcher. You know, when the defenses are crushing in to stop the run, Nelson Aguilar could get behind them. Mac Jones could find him. They brought in Jonnu Smith, Hunter Henry. Henry's been in and out of the lineup. He's been dealing with some injuries, which has been the calling card for his career, which is unfortunate. You know, I'd like to see Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith healthy in this offense. You know, we'll see what Hunter Henry can do. Jonnu Smith, I think, is going to be, he's a guy that can catch a 5-yard crosser and take it 90 yards to the house. You know, he's a burner of a tight end. Very curious to see what he does in this offense, man. And then the defense, the defense is just absolutely stacked. Let me read you these names. Let me just read you these names. Christian Barmore, who they got in the second round. I don't know how they got him in the second round, but they got him. Devin Gotcha, who they brought in from Miami. Henry Anderson, interior defensive lineman. Matt Judon, who they brought in from Baltimore. It's that bigger bodied edge guy that they love. Donta Hightower coming back from the opt-outs. J.C. Jackson is going to be asked to play number one corner for them. I like J.C. Jackson a lot. Stephon Gilmore is out the first 6 weeks. He was put on the PUP list, I think. They still have Devin McCourty, Adrian Phillips, Kyle Duggar going into year 2. I think is going to be a superstar for them. Jalen Mills, who they brought in from Philadelphia, who, I made fun of Jalen Mills a lot when he was in Philly. But to be fair, the last couple of years he was in Philly, he kind of found a good spot for him at safety. And he's a versatile piece that Bill Belichick, loves those versatile safeties, those versatile linemen. He's going to fit like a glove in this scheme, I think. Sort of like how Eric Rowe came in. They bring back Kyle Van Noy, who's just an ultra smart guy, always in the right place, always at the right time. They still have Chase Winovich, Jawan Bentley, another bigger bodied interior linebacker. Josh Uche, Jonathan Jones, who covers the opposing team's fastest receiver. This could be a top 5 defense, man. I'm expecting it to be a top 5 defense. So you're telling me they have a top 5 defense, a top 5 offensive line, and a potential top 5 running game? What more could a rookie quarterback ask for, man? And they won 7 games last year with a lot less talent. So you're adding all this talent back into this team, and people expect them not to make the playoffs? I think Bill Belichick and this team are right on their way to a playoff spot. Now, I can't say they'll win the division. I can't say that, because the number 1 team in this division, the Buffalo Bills, they tore the house down last year, man. They absolutely tore the house down. Josh Allen, out of nowhere, it felt like, burst onto the scene, had an MVP caliber type season. If it wasn't for Aaron Rodgers going crazy, Josh Allen probably would have been MVP last year. And now, the biggest storyline is, was it a one-season wonder, or can he repeat that? I don't think he's going to have exactly the numbers that he did last year. I do see some regression, but that being said, they did everything right to maintain him, having a phenomenal season again. Bringing back Brian Daboll, who should have been a head coach. He definitely should have been a head coach. He probably didn't like the offers that were available when the Bills were eliminated from playoff contention. They got eliminated a lot later than most teams. A lot of teams had their coach at that time. So they bring him back. Phenomenal. Of course, you got Stephon Diggs back. They bring in Emmanuel Sanders, who, I'm not too high on Emmanuel Sanders. I actually think Gabe Davis, who was a rookie last year, I think he should be the third receiver on this team. They have Cole Beasley, who's probably the best slot receiver in football. The running game, I always say regarding the Bills that the lack of a run game is going to catch up with them, but it hasn't yet. So it hasn't yet. There's no reason to believe it will. So I think the Bills are clearly the best team in this division, because they have the best quarterback in this division. They have phenomenal weapons. They have a great offensive coordinator. But I'm lower on the Bills in terms of where they stack up in the AFC. Now, I mean, the Chiefs clearly the best team in the AFC, but I think the Browns are better too, and I think the Titans, there could be an argument that the Titans are better too. I'm just not high on the Bills defense. They got crushed last year by Kansas City in the playoffs. They have a defensive-minded head coach in Sean McDermott, but to be honest, the defense is not what this team is known for. It's not, and I could see a similar situation. TFG, Marcus Whitman actually brought this up, where it's kind of similar to Dan Quinn in Atlanta when they let Kyle Shanahan go, kept Dan Quinn, and the rest of the team fell off. I could kind of see Brian Daboll, if they let him go, Sean McDermott kind of going downhill and maybe getting fired in the future. Now, I don't want to say anybody's going to get fired or anything like that. And as long as they have Josh Allen, they're going to be, at a pretty high floor. But, man, right now, when you look at the Bills, Brian Daboll is the one leading this team. It's not Sean McDermott, because their defense leaves a lot to be desired. So the big storylines for the Bills, can that defense elevate and match that offense? And what happens with Brian Daboll? Are they really just going to let him go after all the development he's done working with Josh Allen? I don't know, man. It's very interesting. The most interesting division in my eyes this season. Can't wait to see how it unfolds, man. Can't wait for week 1. This is the first division I'm breaking down. Going to be bringing down the rest of the divisions in the coming days leading up to week 1. I can't wait, man. I really can't. Thank y'all for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the like button. It really helps me out. Comment what you guys think of the AFC East. How you guys see these teams stacking up against each other. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. Links will be down in the description. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support. And take care, y'all.